It began on an icy winter morning in the quiet town of Graysfield, where snow blanketed every surface like a shroud. A lone traveler named Mason followed a trail of footprints leading away from an abandoned farmhouse. Each print was crisp, perfect, human. But as he approached the tree line, the shapes began to change. At first, Mason thought the warmth from the morning sun had distorted them. But the footprints weren't melting, they were reforming, stretching into elongated impressions that looked almost like hooves. He knelt down and felt the snow. It was still frozen solid, undisturbed except for those impossible marks. The trees above creaked as a strong wind howled through. Mason, feeling watched, lifted his head to the sound of cracking branches. The tracks ahead curved oddly, defying gravity, climbing halfway up a large oak before vanishing altogether. No normal creature could have done that. Not in this world. He pulled out his phone, filming as his breath formed misty clouds in the air. Each step forward deepened his unease. Behind him, his own footprints stayed human, yet the original ones he'd been following had long since stopped obeying logic. They spiraled, grew claws, and cut deep rifts into the snow. Back in town, Mason told the local sheriff what he'd seen. The sheriff, hardened by years of rural oddities, brushed it off as frost patterns or animal confusion. Yet, curiosity gnawed at him, so he went to see for himself. Hours passed before anyone heard from him again. When rescuers finally found the sheriff's truck, its doors hung open, keys still in the ignition. The snow around it was marked with footprints that began human and ended clawed. The pattern vanished abruptly at the edge of a frozen lake, where no sign of a fall-through or struggle existed. Locals began whispering of old tales, myths about the changed path, a curse said to hunt those who disrespect the dead. Stories of travelers whose steps transformed until they vanished completely. No one dared to tread into those woods after sunset again. 2 nights later, security cameras from a nearby ranger station captured something uncanny. The snow seemed to shift in patterns of its own, forming and unforming shapes like breathing lungs beneath white sheets. Even in low resolution, faint claw-like indentations appeared and disappeared repeatedly. Experts were called, yet none could explain the footage. Some claimed it was a CGI hoax, others blamed temperature fluctuations. But when Mason's video synced perfectly with the timestamp of the ranger station, the argument collapsed. Both recordings showed identical footprints evolving in real time. Stranger still, each time authorities marked the site with colored stakes, they'd vanish overnight, replaced by trails leading elsewhere. Each morning, new tracks waited, changing direction as if anticipating the living. Whatever left those marks wasn't running, it was watching. The phenomenon spread beyond Graysfield. Reports surfaced from neighboring towns describing prints that began one shape and ended another, bare feet into paws, paws into wheels, wheels into circles of scorched earth. Each photo looked almost staged, until investigators realized distances matched perfectly. In March, a scientist from Montclair University, Dr. Eliza Whitmore, ventured to document the anomaly. Her recordings began with a trail she measured as exactly 5 feet apart. But midway, the prints elongated to over 8 feet, stride steady, as if the same being had grown in seconds. Dr. Whitmore's report described a faint vibration in the ground preceding each transformation. She swore the air itself trembled, bending light above the marks like heat rising off asphalt. Sensors malfunctioned, batteries drained, and then, radio silence. Her last note read, "It looks back when no one's watching." Authorities found her notebook days later, dry despite a snowstorm. The field where she worked was covered end to end in perfectly circular depressions. Strangely, some sank deeper than the snow should allow, as if printed from another layer of reality pressing outward. Psychologists proposed mass hysteria. Meteorologists suggested subsurface thawing. But none could recreate the shapes, not even under controlled conditions. The longer the mystery went unsolved, the more the region became a pilgrimage for those who craved proof of something beyond explanation. Internet forums exploded. People from across the world claimed to witness similar distortions, sand dunes bearing foot-like ripples, mud tracks twisting mid-pattern, even footprints in concrete sidewalks bending unnaturally. The phenomenon no longer belonged to one town, it had gone global. Slow-motion breakdowns of the original Graysfield videos revealed something overlooked before. Between frames, just as the shape morphs, shadows appear, thin, vertical silhouettes parallel to the prints. Almost humanoid, but flickering so fast they looked like errors in the fabric of the image. Conspiracy theorists dubbed it the glitcher effect. They argued that these weren't physical transformations at all, but moments where simulation code failed, rendering two realities overlapping. One human, one, something else. If true, then the changed footprints weren't the anomaly, we were. Years later, an anonymous Deep Archive leak released an unreleased file marked Phase Transition 038, Subject Movement. The clip, dated decades before Gracefield's incident, depicted soldiers studying similar prints in old black and white film. Their expressions mirrored terror, not curiosity. In the film, a soldier placed his boot beside one of the distorted shapes. Within seconds, his print stretched, matching the outline perfectly. He stumbled back. The footage cut abruptly, leaving only the eerie silence of military static, then a faint whisper that said, "Stay off the path." When cross-referenced, that location matched a decommissioned test site never publicly acknowledged. Some believe the phenomenon dates back to secret dimensional experiments. Others think it's older, ancient, resurfacing whenever human attention grows too invasive, too curious. Local legends still warn travelers not to follow unknown tracks. Hunters refuse to cross paths that start perfect but end warped. They say if you keep walking, the prints will start to mirror yours, until you look down and realize they belong to something standing right next to you. Satellite imagery later showed bizarre inconsistencies. Areas where the tracks appeared would glitch in photographs, edges blurring, pixels repeating. The effect spread like a virus, rewriting terrain in ways unexplainable by mapping technology. Every attempt to digitally erase them failed. An independent researcher uploaded an algorithm to trace the paths worldwide. Instead of identifying random clusters, it revealed an interlinked network forming a massive spiral pattern visible only from orbit. The realization struck, every altered footprint was part of a much larger design. The spiral center sat the northern ridge outside Gracefield, the original site. Night hikers report hearing crunching snow behind them even when they stand perfectly still. The sound matches footsteps, yet no tracks appear, until they turn away. One witness, a photographer named Lena, set up infrared cameras across the ridge. Her captured frames alternated between empty fields and strange, luminous distortions low to the ground. The shifting heat signatures seemed to mimic walking humans, then contort into reptilian postures. Lena vanished days after submitting her footage. Locals found her camera half-buried near the first farmhouse Mason had visited. On the lens, frozen condensation resembled partial fingerprints, except the ridges twisted into spirals, looping infinitely inward. Investigators who handled the evidence developed vivid dreams afterward. In each dream, they followed footsteps through snow that became water, then glass, then black void. When they tried to stop walking, something behind them continued moving. Theories now oscillate between the paranormal and technological. Some suggest we're witnessing bleed-through, a merging of timelines distorted by observation itself. Every documented case occurs where surveillance technology was active, as though the act of looking rewrote the ground. Government silence only deepened suspicion. A classified memo circulated, urging media to avoid sensational coverage of pattern anomalies. That memo leaked, reigniting frenzy across platforms, drawing thrill-seekers who disappeared almost as soon as they arrived. Experts of simulation theory offered an unsettling possibility: what if reality corrects itself through recursive rewriting? Those footprints might not be footprints at all, but debugged traces, reminders of something once alive that was deliberately overwritten. Mason, now older, refuses interviews. His footage remains online, untouched, a digital relic. When asked what he believes he saw, he simply says, "I followed something that forgot how to be human." No one has ventured back to the ridge since. Every few winters, when the snow comes thin and quiet, drivers passing the tree line report seeing fresh prints crossing the road. They say the first few look normal, then halfway across, they twist, crawling upward like vertical ropes. And then, they're gone. The mystery of the changing footprints remains open. Scientists chase explanations, believers chase proof, and the rest of us, well, we just avoid paths that begin too perfectly. Because somewhere, perhaps just out of sight, the next step might not belong to us at all.